After 8 years, we finally have another Kung Fu Panda movie. Is it any good? Let's find out right now.
We're not so different, you and I.
Welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. As I said in the intro, I'll be reviewing the newest Kung Fu Panda movie, Kung Fu Panda 4 today. I won't be going in depth on any spoilers, so don't worry about that. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, like the video. Helps a lot. I'm going to give you guys a quick plot synopsis just so you know what the movie is about. After Po is tapped to become the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, he needs to find and train a new dragon warrior, while a wicked sorceress plans to resummon all the master villains who Po has vanquished to the spirit realm. I find it actually crazy how it's been 8 years since we've gotten a new Kung Fu Panda movie, because I mean they do pretty decently at the box office, especially in the international places. And you know, I kind of grew up with Kung Fu Panda, like I kind of grew up with the first two. The third one, I never saw that one in the theaters because it came out at a time where I was, you know, growing up decently, you know, turned into a teenager. Because I think the third one came out even when I was 13 or 12, so I wasn't really into those kind of movies anymore. But I grew up with the first two, so I kind of baffling that it took them 8 years to make Kung Fu Panda 4. And you know, it's kind of interesting how DreamWorks works and all that, because we're still waiting on a confirmation for like Shrek 5 and whenever that's gonna happen, which is weird because Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did so well last year. It was critically acclaimed. The box office was actually really good. You know, I had that cliffhanger for Shrek 5. Like, where's the announcement? I feel like DreamWorks, it's such a weird, like, kind of part of a studio of Universal and what they're doing, what their next movie is. I'm just not sure what's going on there. I feel like everyone is just waiting for Shrek 5. And supposedly the director of Kung Fu Panda 4 said there's more to come after this Kung Fu Panda movie, which is interesting because the ending of this one, clearly, I don't know how we're going to get more Po after the ending of this one, because it goes like in a different route, and we're not going to say anything about that. But I think that DreamWorks is kind of baffles me, especially with Universal, because the marketing for this movie was it was kind of lackluster, to say the least. There was only one main trailer, and sure, there were TV spots, but I still think you need that second main trailer. So I think that this movie was kind of done dirty. But the animation here, I will say the animation was pretty good. You know, I wasn't blown away by any of the animation. I will talk about the action also. While watching this movie, I was kind of looking at the animation to see if it looked any different from the first three, because I couldn't tell, but there's also something different about the movie that I also couldn't tell what was going on. I feel like some of the animation looked a little different. I feel like it maybe looked a little bit cheaper than the first three, but I'm still not sure because I think the budget on this one was pretty low. The action scenes in here are pretty good, but there's not a lot of action scenes. I wish there was more, since we're dealing with the Dragon Warrior here. We're dealing with Po. The action scenes in the third act are actually pretty good, especially with the chameleon, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, I feel like the animation was good, but it looked a little different. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe it's just me looking at the movie in that way. I don't know how you guys took that animation style, but I do feel like it looked different from the first three. And I'm going to do a ranking of all three in just this video because I don't feel like making another video. So in my opinion, I think that the first one is still the best. Then the second one, just a little bit behind it. I love the villain in that one. And then it's going to take a steep dive, and then I'll put this one after the second one. I feel like this one's fine. And then last post would be 3. I didn't feel like 3 had much focus, and I didn't really care about the plot line of 3. So that's my ranking. I feel like this one is better than Kung Fu Panda 3, but not on the same level as the first two. And the script of this one kind of was a big weakness of it. And you might say, you know, it's a kids movie, you don't need a great script. But I don't feel, in my personal opinion, I don't feel like kids movies should appeal to just kids, especially when I was a kid when the first ones are coming out, so why can't this one still appeal to me? So I feel like the story needed more work, and because it wasn't what I thought it would be, you know, because I'm going into this movie expecting, you know, an action adventure and, you know, a chameleon. You see different villains appearing and all that coming back. But it's more of a road trip story between Po and Zen, which is Awkwafina's character, for most of the movie, for like the first half. And we didn't, as I said, we didn't get much fighting or action until that third act, which I will say is a pretty disappointing part of the movie, because I think the first three had, at least the first two had more action. That's why I like those a lot more. You know, this one, it just felt like it had such a plain and simple story. It kind of, I don't want to say this to be rude, but it kind of just felt like a, you know, like a made for TV, made for like a home video type movie. It didn't feel like it was really a theater experience until you got to that final fight in the third act. So I will say that's a big disappointing factor of this. And I will say the most disappointing part of this movie, though, was No Furious 5. That's probably the biggest complaint I'm gonna have. and I think anyone's going to have their big Kung Fu Panda movie fan, because the Kung Fu Panda movies are, successful and huge because of Jack Black as Poe, but also I think 50% of that is because the Furious Five. You have a lot of great actors behind those characters, and those characters are great, and those characters helped shape Poe for who he is today as the Dragon Warrior. And so I just find it so baffling. I don't know if it was like, budget cuts, or like they were asking for too much money, but you could still play Jack Black. So I don't understand what we're doing here, because that's a big part of the movie that you're missing, a big part of the magic that makes the Kung Fu Panda movie so special for everyone, which is the Furious Five. Those characters do a lot, and basically what they say in this, Poe just says they're off doing other missions, which is pretty clear, just lazy way out too, as I would say. I mean, they do appear in the end credits kind of, but it's none of the voice actors return, so I don't understand why you animate them for the end credits but don't want to pay the voice actors any money to come back to the actual movie. Because if they were in the movie, I feel like the story could have been even better, and it just didn't have to feel like a simple road trip kind of movie. So yeah, that's the biggest gripe I have with this movie, is that the Furious Five, just there's so much magic missing without them. So I want to get to the cast now, and of course, as I said, no Furious Five in the cast. I want to talk about Jack Black as Poe. This is basically his character. I think he's most famous for this character, and I think he does a great job with this character every single time. But I feel like this one, there's not enough funny moments for him to really take the stage and like make you laugh a lot. There's a couple of scenes that made me laugh, but it just didn't feel like it had the same magic as the first three, which is kind of sad. I feel like Jack Black still did a great job. Let's talk about Awkwafina as our new character, Zen. There's been a lot of hate around Awkwafina lately, and me personally, I don't hate Awkwafina. I just feel like she's way too overexposed. Like, it feels like I'm seeing her in like 2 or 3 different movies every single year. I don't know. She always plays the same character too, like the supporting character and like the person learning everything, becoming the new person in this story. And I don't know why the studios like to overexpose her and cast her and everything, because you see a lot of hate for her online. I like her in a lot of different things, especially Crazy Rich Asians, Shang-Chi, and I've heard she's great in The Farewell. I like her more in the dramatic roles. I just don't understand why they're overexposing her so much. I just feel like that's the biggest issue. She's just way too overexposed. I feel like she gives a pretty good performance. Her character, though, is not really a character that I cared for. Like, they're just introducing another character just to take the mantle, and I don't know why. Like, what's the point in that? So I didn't really care for her character. I thought Awkwafina did a fine job, though. Kyu Kwan has a small role in here. I'm happy for him here. Ian McShane comes back. Ian McShane coming back as Tai Lung is pretty cool, but as I said, such a small part of the story. Could have been such a more major part. Could have had, more serious moments with him. That would have been pretty cool. Viola Davis is here as the new main villain, the Chameleon. And, I like her as the villain here, but still, it doesn't seem like she's that menacing, because I don't feel like it takes itself seriously enough. And, I don't feel like her villain had enough time to shine. She doesn't even show up till like halfway into the movie for like, to do anything, and it just seems like she's just a villain to be the villain. So I didn't really care about the Chameleon that much. I will say the best part of the movie is the end credit song, which is Tenacious D's cover of Baby One More Time. That was easily the best part of the movie, and I'm not trying to be rude by saying that, but if you hear the song, that song is great. That I love the cover of that song. Tenacious D did a great job. Jack Black does a great job on that song. So, I kind of paid just to see that moment. And I will say that moment did make up for, how just okay this movie is. Because overall, Kung Fu Panda 4 is fine. It's nothing special. It's not the worst one, but it's far from being the best one. It has its moments, but still I feel like it was lacking a real strong story, lacked a lot of great action, it lacked a lot of serious moments, and just, no Furious 5. That means I'm going to take that rating down a little bit. So I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 4 a 6 out of 10. Could have been a lot better if the script was a lot better and you actually had a lot of the characters from the original 3 films. So yeah, that's my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. If you did see the movie, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Love to discuss it with you. But I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.